Bow, bow, bow. We are live. What is going on, everyone? Oh no, Don's already in the chat. Don.
Don's back?
Yeah, they're talking about Don
He ain't
already.
going anywhere.
It's been 2 weeks and he's still fresh on everyone's mind.
Don's been here the whole time, just waiting.
I didn't even put the video up and he was there in the chat that didn't exist. He was waiting. Crazy, dude.
What's up? What's up, everyone?
What is up? Let's get some hellos out of the way. First up, I am joined, as always, with Alyx and Skiva from Between Realities. How you doing, boys?
Yo, we're doing pretty good, man.
Yo.
We're fresh off the heels of Game on Expo here in Phoenix. We all wrapped it up yesterday in the evening, and we had 3 days of demoing people for free at a gaming expo,
I saw
putting
some of
them
the
into
clips.
all kinds of games. It was pretty sweet, man. Yeah, we had I think we had like 16 total setups in the space, and there was at one point where every single one of them was in use for a while,
It's beautiful.
which was incredible to see. Like a line of PlayStation VRs, all these quests like pistol whipping, and somebody in Demio looking at their card hand, and somebody over there putt golfing for walkabout, and it was beautiful, man. So many smiling faces, so many like core memories established for a lot of these younger crowd, and I think it was pretty awesome. Skiva, what do you have to say about it?
It was amazing. I'm so tired.
I was
I'm
waiting for
wiped
that.
out, man.
That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for someone to say
I was going back and forth in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God,
So-
am I able to do the show today? Like, nah, I
Yeah.
have to.
It's hard,
Yeah.
right? Because you want to give every single person an amazing experience, and there's a lot of people, and it takes a lot of energy to give all those people a great experience, adjusting their IPDs, making sure they're getting a good picture, like not just throwing them in there and letting them go, but also making sure they're safe. Some of our experiences were scary, and you don't want people like shifting over and falling over. Like, you got to make sure everyone has an amazing time and they don't have any bad memories in their brain of what VR was like. And I think we accomplished that. And it took a lot out of us, but it was 100% worth it. We have a lot of people now that have seen the future of gaming, and maybe they never had looked at it since the cardboard or whatever. But we had people straight up being like, yeah, we're going to buy a Quest, or we're going to buy a headset or a PlayStation VR, and people just had a blast, man. Some people didn't leave our booth like the entire time. They were just there getting in line over and over again.
Just to touch on this, I recently went to an arcade, or I went away on holiday for a week, and I went to some arcades. I love arcades, and there was quite a bit of VR, and it's not very good. There was one thing that was semi-decent, but there is nothing out there currently that is like in a general arcade, I guess, that is not of high tech, a high tech standard. And yeah, there's nothing really out there that sells it. Like you might think, oh, this is pretty cool, but not how we know it and how we love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about.
Meanwhile, we handed a menu to everybody who approached the desk that had the list of games that we were offering, and it was a badass list. Synapse, Call of the Mountain, Zombieland Headshot Fever, Pistol Whip, Demio, Propagation VR, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, Beat Saber, Real VR Fishing, Yuki MR Experience, I Expect You to Die. Like, all of those games were on that list, and people were like choosing based off of like what they thought sounded the coolest or what they'd heard of. Job Simulator was super popular. Everybody loved it.
What was your like?
Call the Mountain?
What was your top 3?
Astrobot.
Oh, Astrobot.
Yeah, Tetris Effect.
What about
we
Beat
had all of
Saber?
those.
Did people
Beat Saber
play that?
was
We didn't
the
have no
most
Beat
popular.
Saber was there.
was the
There was
most
no
popular.
Beat Saber.
Did Eric choose the games?
Eric played the game, believe it or not. We have footage of Eric
We have
playing Beat
video.
Saber now.
Oh, damn.
Video of Eric.
Live.
Beat Saber
Live.
is still the hands down the most popular. We had 2 stations running Beat Saber that were filled the entire weekend, all 3
Yeah.
days, the entire time the booth was open.
It
both
looks
Beat
great
Sabers.
as well, doesn't it? From an external perspective, to watch someone play that game as well, you're instantly
Totally.
like, "What are they doing?" So.
And we had like big social displays, so like you can see on the screen what people are doing, and a super loud speaker blasting the songs. So it sounded like a party was happening at our booth when people were playing Beat Saber there.
And you had Creeper Betty and some other people, I believe. Who did you have?
Dude,
Yeah,
it was so
yeah.
sick. So obviously Mash from Q2C, who we haven't officially said hello to yet, but here he is. Hey, Mash, he was there with us. He and his wife Steph, and they were both amazing. So great to have. And those guys came out last year too. Todd and his wife Allison from Q2C VR Gamer also came out. So we had both of them. We had Creeper Betty, PSVR. I guess it's Creeper Betty VR now. And we had Mickey Bear come out. And Q creator Mike Newton.
That's fantastic.
We also had Kensei Gaming, who's a VR resident here in Arizona with us. He has his own channel, Kensei Gaming. You should definitely check him out. Anybody else that we need to mention here?
Your wife, Brittany, was there all weekend working her ass off, cooking food for everybody.
Yeah, you might want to mention your wife.
Yeah, I should mention my wife. I should mention Corey and Dakota and Jimmy, a couple of the young guys who joined our team to help us pull it off too. Mike Bowen and his wife John C. and their buddy Eric. We had an amazing squad. I think we had like 18 people on our team to pull this thing off.
When you say young guys, like where are you in this young?
Like 18 to 22.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Nice.
But yeah, it was incredible. We managed to meet a handful of people that live in the state that are also huge VR fans, which, you know, they're few and far between. So that was really cool. One guy who had a channel that has 16,000 subscribers, which is pretty sweet. You'd never met him. I think his channel is like VR Bro Reviews, if I'm remembering correctly. So that might be a channel worth checking out. And yeah, we're wiped out today. You know, I think somebody in chat mentioned that my voice sounds messed up. It totally is. I'm completely trashed. And we took all of our own equipment to pull this thing off. So like I got here today, or when I got here last night, everything is ripped apart. My computer is not hooked up. My monitor isn't where it normally is. Like all my TVs have been moved out of my house. So like this morning before the show, I had to hook my computer back up, get everything up and running. And it's been a process, but you know, I'm glad that we were able to do it.
What a fantastic refresher, though, when you see new people experience VR. I think it just re-energizes. I know you're tired now, but it re-energizes why you're doing what you're doing and the passion behind it, you know.
100%. We're able to live vicariously through every single person who comes through that booth, because you know, we all know how badass VR is, but sometimes we don't, like, we're like so close to the page writing that like we forget to like take a step back and remember just how impactful it really is. And when you see these kids come in, or these adults who have never had a chance to try it before, and they're walking the plank, Richie's plank, which we also had, and they're freaking out, like, or playing propagation and just losing their minds, like swinging and punching and screaming. It was fantastic. Yeah, it is really great to live vicariously through everyone.
Put a new person in Call of the Mountain and Horizon Call of the Mountain. We're jaded, right? We're like, yeah, it looks pretty good. It's a good looking game. You put somebody who's never had a VR headset on before, or had a bad experience in a VR headset, go put them in Switchback, or go put them in Call of the Mountain, games that we like kind of like pick apart because we have to. And these fucking people are just jaw dropped, awed,
Totally.
like blown away at what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's a good perspective for us to get into and see.
I guess there was a point where VR looked below what is now current gen, and now it's very, you know, the right games look on par with, and that's probably why, because you've got that sudden like stereoscopic view of these amazing looking games. Horizon, I think, looks fantastic. Like,
It's gorgeous, bro.
it's so good looking. Yeah.
Did anybody get sick? Because Radio Runt said he went into Horizon this weekend and literally said he came out feeling sick from playing.
It was
I'm
his friend.
assuming
It was one of his friends. It wasn't him.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right.
personally.
It was his friend. Yeah.
We did a lot of
Man,
Horizon. I had not one person that I did, and I did a lot of the PlayStation stuff, get sick from
I did
Horizon.
one.
Okay.
I had
did
one.
and he was just like, I had to take it off. I'm feeling a little dizzy. But that was it. Just one.
Yeah, same. I don't know if it could have even been the same guy. Skeeve and I maybe were both there, but I remember one guy, once he started climbing, once he finished climbing and the smooth loco started with the thumbsticks, he was done.
Well, let me ask you this. How did you deal with people being afraid of the dark?
Dude, people
Inside joke.
Yeah, dude. But low key though, people surprise me, man. Like, because you know, I go into something like Propagation VR and I'm freaking out. Like halfway through that thing, I want to rip the headset off and go cry in a corner.
Oh, is it Propagation, the first one, not
Yeah,
Hotel?
yeah.
That is
And
such a sick House of the Dead style experience.
It's
man.
And
so
people got to
sick.
experience in a Pimax crystal, by the way,
Wow.
With the Behaptics vest.
with a
Wow,
haptic vest on.
that's insane. Like, I tell you what, right? So that exact setup, say you run an arcade, how much would you charge a person per go of that? Like, you've invested in this equipment. This is your living. They've got like the Pimax crystal. They've got the top end PC equipment, like, and the Behaptics.
Probably about $45.
That's what I'm saying.
45.
I'm just saying. I was
30 to
very.
45,
I was
depending on-
expecting 25 minimum, to be honest.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
thinking 10.
No, for
$10?
well, I
And
mean,
then he went
for
out
an
of
hour.
business. And then he
For
went
an
out of
hour's
business.
time, it would be about, depending on location, $30 to $45.
Yeah.
For an hour. Okay.
For an
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking like one go of propagation. Like
Yeah. All
coming
right.
in.
Let's do
Well,
both.
$10
What would be one go?
easy.
What would be one go? I mean, it's about 20 minutes long, I guess, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah, we let
Yeah.
people pretty much play through to the end of the first level where the big zombie comes out and the other guys come in with a rocket launcher and take them out for the most part. But there are some people there that like they get in, they hop out, they get right back in line, they do it again, they hop out, they get right back in line, do it again and again. There were people there that like, you know, then they bump up in skill level each time. People are trying it on like nightmare mode and like it was nuts, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
and
there
it's so
was-
busy that people are making appointments, so it's not like they can just jump back in and go right ahead. Like they got to jump back in and then go back and wait for an appointment, and they were doing it. Like they would go back and like, yeah, you need to come back in a half an hour, and they would wait and they would come back in a half an hour. 'Cause they wanted to do
Totally.
it.
I'll tell you what was good with fast travel. Was Broken Edge. 2 people sword fighting. That really pulled in numbers. Instead of like one person, to see 2 people sword fighting from the outside and the way they reacted and stuff instantly made people think, oh my God, like they've got sword fighting in VR. You know, that was pretty cool.
Dude,
That's
it
awesome.
would
We're
it would
limited on
blow-
internet, right? We can't
Yes.
do multiplayer experiences, which is a bummer. But
It would blow your mind out there, peoples, if you knew how much companies pay to get Wi-Fi at conferences and expos. Like
Oh yeah.
truly staggering. Like tens of thousands of dollars sometimes just to get Wi-Fi. It's
Yeah.
insane.
It's not quite like that in the UK, but it is expensive. It is expensive. And I remember that conversation happening because they paid a lot of money and then the network was just not good. So you had to get all these network engineers and they're there 24/7 to make sure everything's going well. But yeah, next up, let's say hello to Mash from QTC VR Gamer. How you doing, dude?
What's up, man? How's it going? I missed you.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a little break. It was nice. Everybody got a little relaxing. Missed last week. Everybody had a break.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good, man. It was good.
Much needed, but it feels good to be back. Feels good to be back. Yeah, I was in Phoenix with these guys, but I flew home they went to bed last night. They're all, oh, we're so tired. I flew home last night, boys, and I left Phoenix at 9 p.m. I got to New York at 11 a.m. and I went right to work today. So I haven't slept yet, brothers.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
this guy
Wow.
is dedicated, man. All of this to give people VR experiences. Mash is the real deal.
Our wives are the real deal. My wife doesn't,
Yep.
my wife doesn't do VR at all. I mean, she's just there to support me and support Alyx and Skiva and the whole crew that are there. And then, same thing with Brittany, Alex's wife. I mean, my wife, she just stood there all weekend, helping people figure out where they needed to go, make appointments. It was
How
truly was a
amazing.
cool thing.
How amazing though, because like in a normal job that would never happen. Like my wife could never go and visit me on the railway. Do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
So, yeah, that's so cool.
It is cool to be able to enjoy something like this, something we're all super passionate about, and that to have our wives who maybe don't have the same passion, but they're there because they want to, they love us and they want to support us. It's super cool. It's one of the coolest things to be able to experience together.
It is. And my wife made food for the whole team for every single day of the expo, like out of our tiny little kitchen here on the Between Reality spaceship. She managed to crank out a bunch of stuff. So like we didn't have to eat like the con food or the egg, the burgers or the hot dogs that they offer at the expo or anything like that. So, definitely shout out to the ladies. They were huge, like true definition of the booth babe.
Oh, that is fantastic. Shout out to the booth babes. Whoop, whoop.
Hell yeah.
And I see Mickey Bear in chat right now, who is actually still down the street in a hotel, has not flown home quite yet, and making the show here with us. What's up, Mickey Bear?
Dude,
Thanks,
he crushed it.
bro.
Mickey Bear brought his Quest Pro and let everybody play Five Nights at Freddy's in it.
Oh,
And
bless
he
him.
ran the station and had people coming in and at his station all day.
I bet it
and
felt so
completely
good
crushed
though.
it.
I bet it felt so good because then he's sharing it. He's getting that thing. That's the whole reason I started a YouTube channel, because of those vibes he would have got right there and then. Is people going, "Oh wow, dude," and then he's like, "Yeah," talking about it and his passion and probably how he got into it and all that stuff. Because it is it's like a hobby, isn't it? Still for some people, a passionate hobby.
100%.
Good. It's so
Yeah,
good.
Mickey and Mike Newton, Q Creator, both had a blast. And the whole time, like, we're just so appreciative because they spent the time and money to come to Arizona just to attend this, and then we put them to work like hard.
And at
all
the end,
3
they came and
days.
thank us.
Right, and it's
Said,
like, no,
Thank
They're
you for
like,
making
"Thank
me
you guys."
work.
They're like, thank you guys for letting us come and do this. This was amazing. But that's the feeling you get, right? I mean, they have the bug, man. They want to be like, ambassadors of VR and get people involved in something that they're passionate about. And they were so into it. It was so cool to watch.
Yeah,
It's great.
if anyone was doing anything like that in my area, I'd go and do it. 100%.
We're gonna fly you in next year.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be in a
Special
crate.
guest star.
I'll be in a crate with like little air holes. Yeah, that'd be crazy. And last but definitely not least is Wes and Roots from Virtual Strangers. How you doing, boys?
Good, man. Good. It's nice Monday. We've had a pretty decent weekend, and it's a day above ground, so it's a good day.
And I hate Zoom
Why do you hate Zoom?
because open up the actual window. Well, I guess you're looking at it. Do I look like shit in our picture?
Yeah,
No,
Fantastic.
but on the internet, everybody here says, Roots, you got a shitty camera and you're like blocky. You have bad internet. You don't have 1,000 megabytes a second internet, 20 megabytes.
Have you got a
upload.
VPN on? Have you got a VPN on?
No, I don't have anything on. It's just bizarre. And I
Oh,
can't.
he's got.
I
all
wish I would have
upset.
just never looked last time, and then I would never know.
Listen,
I wouldn't have known. So
You're.
I don't know.
Imagine how ugly people feel. That's what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah,
and it's only
at
on
least-
Zoom. It's only on Zoom.
Oh shit! I can turn it off and on. Okay, good perspective. You got
And I
it.
gotta tell you that the more clarity you have, truly, the more beautiful Roots becomes.
Yeah.
Like, I've had plenty of video calls with this guy, but when I met him in person, I was stunned at how good looking of a dude he is.
I
I
felt
was like,
the same,
what the?
I felt the same way. Alex comes down. He's wearing a suit. I was like, holy shit, dude! This guy's all dressed up. That was cool. Moon rocks in
Yeah.
Denver. It was awesome.
That's
I
right,
was just
baby.
thinking, Wes and Roots are the only two I haven't met yet.
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
we're gonna.
That's so weird.
I just decided I'm gonna try to. Well, I guess I'm gonna go to CES this year.
You
so-
guess?
Are you really?
You're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, so-
awesome.
All right, so CES then, GT. That's your next time.
When is CES? Next?
January. It's like
January.
right after the new year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like first week in January.
If somehow I earn enough money, I will definitely try to get CES.
Just
Ladies
do
and
it.
gentlemen, donations in the description below. Get
we go.
GT to Vegas.
Yes.
Please send
To
$1,000.
Vegas. Oh my.
Just do what D and I are gonna do. Just drive out. We're gonna switch off.
Carpool.
I will.
Just
That,
take a
carpool.
ferry.
Just yeah.
I will drive out. Quick shout
there you go.
out to Samson143VR. He says, Miss Joel, VR to the moon. Absolutely. Happy Monday, VR fam. Thank you ever so much, dude. And yeah, VR to the moon for sure. Oh, dude. So many people in the chat. Paradise is dropping keys. Paradise
Damn.
Decay. Thank you ever so much. This is the only channel I can see him on. For some reason, me and him are blocked. But yeah,
It's been like years.
I know.
I know.
Man.
I was actually DMing someone at YouTube to try and solve it, and they just can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is.
You're the same person.
I
You're the
feel
same
like I'm
person.
the
Uh-huh.
official like intermediary for PD and GT.
Mm.
Like there was a minute there where like PD would say something and then I would tell GT, but I would like kind of tweak it a little bit and like make sure that the messages were not properly being delivered, just for my own personal sick pleasure. It was fun.
Hey, I did see someone in the chat asking where Sadly It's Bradley is.
Yeah, do you know what?
Miami.
We rarely mention that he's not here, but it's kind of obvious he's not here. But we should say it maybe for the audio version. Yes, Bradley again is not here because he's driving. Is it his mum or someone from Miami or himself from Miami?
He's doing an event in Miami. Something. I don't know how much he's allowed to talk about, but that's where he's at.
Nice. And yeah, I will be at EGX this year, as I am every year. I'm going to be taking my whole family, bro. And that
Nice.
is in October. So yeah, looking forward to that. That'd be cool, man.
Are you going to Gamescom, GT?
Going to Gamescom as well, yeah.
Yes. So I will see you
Yeah.
next week, buddy.
Yeah. Do you know, it's crazy,
yeah.
mate. I've got like I don't know. I'm very lucky. I've got some sponsored videos coming through, but this week has suddenly gone absolutely crazy. It's gone like there's video. I'm working on videos all the time, so just stuff to do apart from Alicia, which I'd never have actually covered that in some ways. But yo, Mr. Tasselhoff dropping 20 VR CruCast memberships. Thank you ever so much, dude.
And Snow
GT,
Toad
can
with the
we,
32 euros.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
two euros. I think that's a euro.
No, Snow Toad is a pound. That's a pound.
That's the pound. Damn it! I thought I had it.
That's a
I
pound.
was so close.
I don't think the euro really looks like a pound. It's like a backwards E, isn't it, or an E?
It all
Yeah.
looks the
We
same.
don't know what that shit
It all
looks
looks the
like.
same.
Fuck
Yeah.
off, Roots.
If it ain't a
Give it all
dollar,
that.
it's
Shekel.
Monopoly money.
Give it all that. Crazy. But
I was
thank
gonna
you
say,
so much.
GT, can we stay at your house when we go to England after Jamestown? Because we don't have a place to stay yet.
That's the way to do it.
So can me and Skiva stay on your couch?
Funny enough, if you seriously want to, that could actually maybe be possible, because if my son's at university, you would have a bedroom to share. So
That'd be cool though, and then you guys would be able to hang out more because you're like actually under the same roof.
yeah, because you're doing Gamescom. When are you traveling back?
So we are going to we're gonna be in Germany on the 19th or 20th, I think, right?
We get
And then we'll be there to the 26th.
Oh, so you're going to
And
be
then
there
we
a
are
day
going
after
to
me.
London. Yeah, and then we're going to London for 3 days.
Yeah, so you're going to be there a day after me and a day before me. And yeah, London is like a 32-minute train from my house.
Perfect.
So,
All right, well,
32
GT, it looks like you're halfway
Yeah,
to
well,
Vegas now
38
because Rezel VR just dropped $100 as a super chat.
Rezo!
Boom.
Damn it,
There,
thank
you're almost
you.
there.
I cannot afford to tip GT no more. Dude, thank you ever so much. You don't like just do normal amounts.
Now you can do two
Thank you.
polls on one of the slot machines in Vegas.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh man, thank you ever so much. Oh, god damn it. You don't really know what to say in this
Rezel is
sense.
the real deal. He's so generous. He is always like leaving donations and supporting, and it's cool to see. Good job, Rezel.
He really is. And talking about supporting VR, we need to talk about Ryan McCaffrey's tweet last week. I think that'd be a classic topic. Did you guys see this while you was away?
No.
From IGN?
What was it?
I'll let Wes
did.
tell. I'll let Wes tell some
I
of the
did read
story,
it.
dude. I'll let
I
Wes tell
did
some
read
of the
about
story. for sure.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the IGN's Xbox guy pretty much came out and did what he does. He threw a little shade Sony's way and said that his PSVR 2 has dust on it because there's nothing to play on it, and he feels like he was ripped off. Personally,
I did
feels
see
like he was ripped
that.
off by
I
Sony.
mean that's such. I mean, look, I've had my bouts with how much content is out there too, but to say you're ripped off is just hyperbole and just trying to rile people up.
The problem was it was the traffic it was getting. Like, it's not just I don't know anyone in the VR community currently that could write that and get that amount of traction. Was it 1 million or more on this tweet?
Wait, so did he say the same thing a couple months after the
$1 million?
PlayStation 5 released?
Well, this is the thing, right? This is the thing.
Why
He
not?
was raving about
Isn't he a journalist?
GT7.
Yes, he was one of the people that we all celebrated because we were like, "Oh my god, this guy actually gets it!" Like he used to own a DeLorean, right? And he was and this is one of the amazing things about Gran Turismo. He was talking about that one-to-one almost experience of owning a DeLorean and then sitting in one in VR and being like, "Oh shit!" Like PSVR 2 is the real deal. And then so he got 1.8 million views, and you want to say all like any news is like whatever, bad news is also like news or whatever the saying is, but this is bad. Like this is not good that he's
What
decided one day to just go, and it has got dust on it. And I did reply, and my reply actually got quite a lot. Actually, my reply is the top seen reply with 17,000 views.
Nice.
And I did basically say to him, I understood some of it because I think if you're not in a community and you're not watching VR news videos, you're then left to get all your news from Sony's marketing. Like Green Hell, for example, just quickly, Green Hell, they dropped a trailer last week, then pulled it. and they were like, right, it's coming out. And then today they dropped the trailer again and say, yeah, it's out now. And it's out. It's out tomorrow. Actually, the trailer says it's out now, but it's actually out tomorrow. Like, there's just nothing going on for PSVR 2 in that way. So it is really down to the hardcore community to let these people know. And he doesn't fucking follow any of us. He doesn't care about what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? So, and also, the PSVR 2 came out with such a big lineup. Like brands, IP, Horizon, Resident Evil, Gran Turismo. And there's people thinking, holy shit. Like, and these games look amazing. I'm getting one of these. There's nothing since then that's done that for the headset yet. Out, and I'm saying that with like, now hold me up, like, give me a minute. Remember, I'm talking about known IPs. You are a flat console gamer. Look around at the store.
Yeah, Switchback's not pulling you in.
I'm just saying, like, it might do because it's made by that particular company that you know the name of. Might do, and if you follow them on Twitter. But what else? There isn't really that much else outside of the games that we know. Like, everyone going Vertigo 2. He's probably never even heard of Vertigo or Vertigo 2. He's not going to get excited about that.
That was kind of my point with it, too, is that the problem isn't that there's no games to play. There's a lot of games to play. The amount of titles that they've given us in these first few months has been something akin to a major console launch. There's a lot of games. The problem is they haven't shown what's coming. Like nothing. They haven't shown anything about what we should be expecting going forward. And it's kind of led to this kind of cynicism about the platform going forward. And I feel like this tweet is just kind of a manifestation of that. And so that's what I said on Wednesday when we were talking about this. Is Sony has no one to blame but themselves for this, because the marketing has been lacking, to put it mildly.
Well, so today's August.
You don't even need the games. Just tell us what's coming. You need the physical games. If people are hyped about what's coming, they don't need it in their hands. They'll be excited because what's coming, and they'll play the stuff that's already here.
Right. And if you're coming from another, for the people that are coming from other VR platforms, it's not as rich of a library because, that is a point that you could see, which obviously is not his point because he doesn't know all this shit seemingly. But, I've played all these other games. And so you could make the point that there's not that many games on the console outside of, ones that a lot of them that already existed. And I think what Mash is saying is a good point. Like, just let us know, or Wes as well, what's coming. So we know.
Do you find it any different than when they launched the flat consoles? Like, as far as how many titles are out?
No,
I don't feel like anytime
it's
when
been
I buy
6 months.
Console,
it hasn't even been
6 months. There's nothing there.
There's not much. 6 months is not long. So
right.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good launch. So
yeah, same.
So just for some context here, today's August 14th, and the tweet was from Ryan McCaffrey. That's at DMC_Ryan from IGN. And this was 5 days ago. So it must have been August 9th. And it says, I massively regret the $597, including tax, that I spent on the PSVR 2. I love great VR gaming experiences, and I was so excited that Sony was doubling down with a truly powerful second-gen headset, but they burned me. There are no games. It already feels dead. Look at that layer of dust. And at the current time, it has 1,500 comments, 728 retweets, 5,200 likes, and 1.8 million views.
It's a ridiculous statement. That is the most ridiculous statement I've ever seen. The games that they just launched just in the last 4 months alone pay for the system. And like I said, as long as if they tell us what's coming, we'd feel better about it. But just play we just put people through Switchback and Horizon Call the Mountain. And I guarantee you, if I go put them in Job Simulator and then I bring them back over to the PlayStation, where do you think they're going to want to go when I can put them in Switchback and we put them in Synapse and they're freaking losing their minds in Synapse of what they can do? It's the most ridiculous statement. And I have been down on PlayStation because of their non-advertising. But that's the most ridiculous statement to say you're wasted and that there's nothing to play. Some of the best experiences still this year I've had have been on the PlayStation.
That's the problem though with having something that is seen as an accessory. it's an accessory, it's a peripheral, it's an add-on. And Brian Altano, he's also really big at IGN. He also, so further down, he's put, it's honestly crazy how little Sony are actually supporting this thing. Completely sent out to die with no roadmap of first-party software whatsoever. Like the Virtual Boy got more in-house support than PSVR 2.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus,
I-
that is dumb.
And then he goes, I regularly forget it even exists.
How do these people have jobs?
This is the
What
thing.
the heck?
To me, it just means they've got, like Ian Higton from Eurogamer, yeah?
Mhm.
There's a reason he's got that seat. There's a reason he does what he does. Because if you don't have someone who does talk to the community and follows them and listens to what's going on, like he's doing PCVR mods, he might only do 1 or 2 videos a week unless something, maybe 1 a week, I can't remember, but he's there, he's listening, and it might just be Ian's corner, but it's still that, at least that gives Eurogamer's VR audience somewhere to go. That's
Yeah,
the
and
difference.
I'd like to. Ian Higdon's been great. I'd like to also shout out Digital Foundry, who put out a clip in pretty much in direct response to this, a clip from their podcast of their experience in PSVR 2 over the last month to 6 weeks. And they did a great job pointing out that there actually are new games that are great games, Synapse being the main one that they focused on. So yeah, there are people out there that are part of the mainstream traditional gaming media that know what's up, but they're a little more few and far between. So to your point.
GT and West, you guys were like early PlayStation VR1 guys. I didn't come till later. Was the PSVR 1 launch any different with AAA titles? I mean, I gotta assume that most of those titles were not IPs, known IPs. There were a lot of like games that first came to VR.
I'll let
right?
Wes go first if he wants.
No, that's right. Actually, in terms of like big franchises, we've got more with this. In terms of just the sheer number of titles that PSVR 1 kind of launched with, it's right about the same as what we're launching with right now. So it's pretty standard in that effect. But we didn't launch with a Resident Evil game last time. We didn't launch with Gran Turismo. We didn't launch with Horizon. So
What about
Again-
did it launch with Skyrim or did Skyrim come later?
I don't remember. I don't
No,
think
Skyrim
was a launch
Skyrim was
item.
definitely later. So the games that kind of came out in 2016, as from memory, and you've got to remember, right? This was the first real consumer VR headset, and I'll say that with a price point in mind. It was £400 for me.
Yeah, that's true.
£500.
Fact.
So like when I went very, very early hands-on with PSVR, I didn't realize I was actually going to a VR event. There was HTC who were demoing things like, I don't know, putting furniture in a house. And then there was like Oculus with their Rifts doing whatever. And I just went straight to the Sony booth, obviously, and there's me playing these games. So the games that come out, there was a classic arcade tank game. What was that? It was a tank game, where's Battle?
It was a battle
Zone.
Battlezone.
Battlezone, yeah.
Zone.
So Battlezone, I was like, oh shit, did I remember this? And I'm playing it in VR, right? Like it's like Tron. Yeah, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is incredible. Then I play PlayStation VR Worlds, which puts me in a truck with this massive fat bald guy. And I'm pulling all the stuff out in the van. I'm opening the door. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. Then I'm doing a competitive multiplayer in rigs, running around an arena, shooting these things. And I'm just like, this is super special. This is incredible. And that's not to mention that we had a Batman VR experience on launch day as well. And that, like not to go crazy, like I remember I took a week off or 4 days off work to play PSVR, and I played PSVR every day from morning till night. And I remember playing Batman, and I went in there when it was like daylight. And I remember Croc. If you've played this game, there's a bit where Croc jumps up to get Robin, and he smashes the bars, and it scared the shit out of me so much. I took the headset off, and it was nighttime, and I had that weird moment, and I've heard people talk about this where you're not quite sure what reality is at that moment. Is it a different feel to everything, And I was just like, yeah, I need to like stop playing this. I've been playing it for like 3 days straight. I just need to get away and get out of it a little bit. The launch was incredible. And then we had PlayStation VR Worlds. I mean, people were playing PlayStation VR Worlds for the entirety of PSVR, really, because those demos always sold the headset.
Yeah, we had Starblood Arena, we had Rush of Blood, we had Here They Lie.
Yeah.
There were some great titles, but they weren't from
Yeah,
known IPs.
Yeah, they weren't known IPs. And I think those games become known IPs because they hit at a time when it was vibing. Everything, it was like PSVR, you got to remember, before the Quest. There's a difference about Quest. Quest has definitely brought in a younger audience, but PSVR had the older audience. You know, it had an adult audience. And that's why I think these games that were not known IPs become known IPs. Because these adults are like, yeah, like, I don't think kids would ever really care about many of those games that I just spoke about either. So, you know.
So what I think's going on here is I think we were all so excited for the PSVR 2 platform to arrive because we know what this generation is going to mean in terms of bringing VR into the mainstream. We know all of these AAA VR games are coming, and I think we hyped it up so much that people kind of got this false expectation that we were going to just get there overnight. And as soon as PSVR shows up, we're going to have 500 AAA games in the library in 6 months. And that's just not reality. Those games take time to make, they take time to get here. So I think that the platform in general, as it stands today, is being held to unfair standards by most people. And, you know, I think we're partly to blame for that.
Yeah, there is that.
but-
You know, there's a reason I've never said Half-Life Alyx is coming.
Right.
I've never said
Because
that.
there's no reason to think that, right?
Well, it's not just that. It's I do think it. I want it to happen, obviously, and some people I know inside the scene has told me that it is going to happen, right? But if I then tell people, as someone that is like not a figurehead, what are we? We're in the space. We got followers. If I say that to someone and someone else says it to someone else, they've already got an expectation, a level of something happening, and the disappointment is completely fabricated if it doesn't happen. They're going to be, oh yeah, by the Val puts out a tweet, Half-Life Alyx isn't coming to PSVR 2, and everyone goes, oh, God, I really thought it was going to happen. Like, it wouldn't
The
make
system's dead now.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, the amount of people who've asked me that, like, if I live stream, now and again, there will be a paid for super chat that say, do I think Half-Life Alyx coming to PSVR 2? And I'm like, no, I don't. And if I do, you're not going to hear me say, like, officially, yeah, I really do think it's coming, because it just adds a false sense.
And here's
of,
the thing,
you know,
even if it does come, it's not going to make that big of a difference. It's like that alone isn't going to change everyone's mind about the platform. People will get excited for a month about it, and then it'll just be another day, because at the end of the day, that's what a 3-4 year old game at this point. It's not the cutting edge anymore.
You almost need a Population 1 style game to really take off on PSVR 2, something that is a big
what we need
base.
is 2 years. We need 2 years of consistent releases, and then we'll get there. The problem is that everyone thought that we're going to reach the mid-cycle point in 6 months, and that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you know what else needs to happen is it needs to work like really, really well. You know, we just did Game on Expo, where we had in this one booth, we had Quest 1, Quest 2, Pico 4, HTC XR Elite, Vive Pro 2, Pimax Crystal, PlayStation VR 1, PlayStation VR 2, Quest Pro. All of those different headsets were in that booth running. And what do you think gave us the biggest amount of headache? PlayStation VR 2. It was a pain in the ass.
The tracking just isn't up to par. It's just not like, even it's not even just the tracking. It's the controller tracking. It's like setting, you know, having to constantly reset your Guardian all the time because, you know, maybe the lighting is not good enough or whatever for whatever reason.
Did you do the tracking tape? And did you do the screen with the tracking on it?
I did, but the problem is for where we were, just I had to face people away from the screen towards the lights, because it just wasn't bright enough. And but yeah, I think that the tracking screen was on the monitor, but I don't know how much it helped because they weren't looking directly at it.
So
see, that's odd to me that you would say that, because, you know, I use a good variety of headsets around here, and PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 is the one that has the least amount of issues in that. Like, it always remembers.
I would say that I in my considering I've got two massive bright lights in front of me all the time with PSVR 2 and a green screen behind me, the Guardian is constantly set up perfectly and it never goes wrong. But one thing I always remember about when Sony used to go to events with PSVR, they would be almost curtained off above to the sides. The only view in front of you would be a big TV showing like people what they're seeing, and obviously that's kind of right. I think if I was going to do a PSVR 2 show, I would get that tracking screen right there and then put the tape all round. I think it would have to be a very, very hard setup to, I think, get right at a show, because obviously you got lights as well doing all different things.
It's just goes to show you though how good the tracking of like the Quest 2 is.
Oh, dude, yeah.
We have 10 Quest 2 headsets set up and Quest Pro set up, and there is not one issue with tracking or Guardian setup with any of them the entire weekend. And literally, I mean, me and Alex were almost having to reset everything on the PlayStation for every time we did a new experience.
Dude, and there was other wild stuff that was happening too. Like you'd close
Trigger's
the
not
program,
working.
and then all of a sudden the social display is gone. So now I can no longer see on the screen. The screen's black, but they're in the headset seeing menus. And
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that.
Oh, why is that even a thing? I remember the first time
weird.
that happened.
And it really sucks when you're trying to demo somebody, because like they don't know what the hell is going on. They're just like sitting there waiting for you to like magically make this thing happen for them, which for everybody else we're able to. But then when that screen turns off, I'm like, okay, what are you looking at? What can you see? Give me the headset. Now I gotta like put it back on, unplug, replug. We just wrestled with the PlayStation VR 2s all weekend. Now that being said, I do think that those were the most premier experiences that we offered. People went in to Call of the Mountain from the beginning, did the boat ride, did the underwater scene, started climbing, and people were blown away. And to the point of the IPs, we had multiple people come up being like, I'm a huge Horizon fan. I cannot wait to try this.
Yeah,
and
exactly
they were
that.
blown away by it.
Exactly that. And that's where I think the people who have invested in PSVR 2 are Resident Evil fans. They are Gran Turismo and they are Horizon, and then they come across more of the library, and obviously people like Ryan just haven't. They're waiting for someone to say to them, oh, here's whatever IP, do you know what I mean, here's the next, and they're doing it in VR, and he'll be like, oh yeah, I'll check this out. But
how do you feel burned when you rave about this fucking GT7 game and you say it's groundbreaking? That game alone, for the way he talked about it, you didn't get burned, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you still got that game. You can still go marvel about your whatever the flux capacitor you don't have in your car. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. Do you know what I think this is, right? And this is going actually full circle in a way back to what we was just talking about, where when you're in this space, and I play potentially 2 or 3 games a day, right? And I might only make 4 videos a week out of them. Like, I forget how incredible certain games should be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I forget that. And he is a content creator. He is someone who plays multiple games, never pays really probably for anything. I'm very surprised he paid for his PSVR 2. But I mean, he's also at that point where it wouldn't matter if he paid for it or he didn't pay for it. It wouldn't, the review would still be the same. I'm 100% sure of that. Because after a while, when you get keys and you get games, like I still pay for games, but I can still review them regardless of which way I get them. So I do think that he's forgot how amazing VR can be. He's played GT7, he's done that interview, he's probably played it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, had that amazing moment, then gone on camera and gone, oh dude, it's amazing, and he's probably not played it since. I bet he's not even played that game since that moment. And that's the worst. That's why when people review stuff, they play it nigh on through to the end to make sure that it's not just a wow first 5 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the idea of why people do that stuff. So I just think where he gets so much stuff coming through to him, he's just like, oh yeah, it's brilliant. And then game of the year or whatever he said. But I know the Gran Turismo, for some people, Mike from the VR Oasis, I know he plays that game like I think most days still. He still plays it, and he upgrades his gear, like the Fanatec and all that stuff. Like, he's so into it. He was telling me there's a whole community for Gran Turismo that he never knew about. And they say to him, he goes on these Discords or Reddits and they're like, yeah, this week or this update, this particular car is going to be on sale and it's the best car ever. And he's like, he's so in there, dude. You know, he's so into it. So I guess for people who love Gran Turismo, maybe they just can't stop. You know,
Why do you think they haven't fixed No Man's Sky yet in the PlayStation 5? The Triangular says, I finally played No Man's Sky on PSVR 2, and I can understand if someone bought PSVR 2 for that game, coming from a Quest 2, obviously on a maybe PC, they'd be upset about the clarity. And like that was a problem, and that we thought the Pro was going to fix it, the Pro patch, now the 5 patch. Like, what the fuck are they doing? I get it. They've taken this game that was a joke, they've turned it into everything that they've made it to be, but why keep I just don't get it. It looks like shit on the in the PSVR 2 compared to what it should anyway.
it does when you've played it on PC. It does when you played it on PC. But there's so many comments, dudes. Thank you ever so much. Alakazam has put a $20 donation in, which means I'm going to read this. That's the issue I had with PSVR 2. People boosted this thing up so much, and I wasn't hype about it. Got called names because I wasn't excited. So when I did try it and I didn't see nor feel the hype people was talking about. So basically, yeah, whatever communities followed that's made him feel that it's going to be the next best thing ever. And then he spoke up about it and he wasn't welcomed. And then he's not feeling it. So, but then I know this guy had the Quest Pro. And, you know, he obviously, I think he's got PCVR as well. It's just different for everyone. And then Pio thank you for the PLN. Might be, I don't know what that is. Is it Polish? I don't know, but thank you ever so much for the $11.99. Sony didn't show to be interested with hybrids. So there is a clip from a guy talking about hybrids once. I'm sure of it. I remember watching this interview with this guy and he was talking about it, and there's been no talk about it ever since.
Yeah. I would point out that term hybrids is a Sony term. It came from them directly. It was something that was leaked out of the PSVR 2 developer conference before PSVR 2 launched. They said that this generation, they wanted to focus largely on hybrids. I would point out that we're 6 months in, and those games take years to make. They take 3 years. They take 4 years. And we have a few, you know. Village is a hybrid game. Gran Turismo is a hybrid game.
Yeah.
Again, we're not going to get it all at the start. Those games take time. Those games are coming. I would say that it's a bit unfair to say that Sony isn't interested in hybrid games when it was them in the first place that brought the term and the concept up. So
yeah,
that's my thought.
Tapezy says, I've heard GT gripe about PlayStation allowing a lot of low quality games on the store recently. I still stand by that, dude. There's some games on there that I just don't think are worth being on there. But
you don't like Cactus Cowboy or whatever?
Do you know what? That developer, he's a lovely guy. He's been in my Discord, and I did play it once, but I honestly, back then, it was kind of exactly what I was expecting. You know, it was a one-man show. It was all right. You know, it was. And then I saw it on PSVR 2 and I was like, wow, like he's got on PSVR 2, but I've never played it on PSVR 2 and I've never heard anyone talk about it on
There's a reason.
PSVR 2. Oh, okay.
We're not obligated to play basic games. And this is what I was saying yesterday in our stream. You know, we've gotten to a point where a lot of developers, it's sink or swim. And some of them aren't going to be able to swim because they're just not. Usually it's probably going to be funding that's going to stop a lot of developers. They're just going to not be able to continue with what they're doing. Maybe they don't know how to compete to you know, the biggest thing is how do you keep your game relevant as you're developing, you know, as time's going by, because it does take time to develop and things change, and maybe what you were working on isn't as good as it used to be, and then now your game comes out and it's basic and it's not 2016. So
what would you say are the best games on PSVR 2? Give me a top 5 or a top 3. What would you say?
Horizon, Switchback,
Synapse,
Resident Evil, Gran Turismo.
So over half of the best games are not actual VR games.
Yeah, I would change my list a little bit. I would put Saints and Sinners Retribution on that list.
Yes.
It's amazing on PlayStation VR 2.
Yeah.
I've been stuck on that game for 4 days now. I started back in it on Friday. I've played it every day since then.
It's
And
so good.
it's an amazing game. It's
Yeah,
an
it is.
amazing game.
It's brilliant. You just forget, don't you? Because obviously we played it like when did it come out? 2018 or something? Like
So which one gets knocked off the top 5 then? To slide Saints and
For
Sinners in
me,
there? 'Cause we
Horizon. I think
Horizon, yeah.
kind of garbage. It just looks pretty, but that game to me bored the hell out of me.
I really
boring.
enjoyed
Did
it.
I loved
Yeah, I did
it.
too. I did too. Especially
yeah.
the second half of the game is great. Like it takes a while to get going. It's a bit shallow at first, but as you get going deeper into it, the levels become more elaborate, and the boss fights become more frequent, and it gets really really good toward the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Played for a while. Wasn't for me. But
Did-
there's
It's
great
got to
games
be
like
in my top 5.
Resident Evil 8. was
Red
one of
Matter
the best
2,
games I've ever
good
played.
call.
Yeah,
Simplex.
good call. Yeah, like that's what I did, like a top
Okay.
25 because I had no choice to do a top 25 because there is
Oh shit!
at the moment 25 games that I really enjoy and I would recommend. So
I just forgot. I did make my top 25 list when Wes did his, and I didn't have Horizon in my top 5.
Well, what are your
I was
top
just
5?
debating with Skiba, saying I know I have it in my top 5, and it wasn't. How the hell did I?
Well, because
So
what
I
we
have
just said, all those games that you're not naming are amazing, but like
I
something
know.
has to get knocked off the list to make that 5, right?
My
yeah.
number 5
So-
is probably very close. So I did Gran Turismo number 1, Resident Evil 8 number 2, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Retribution number 3, Red Matter number 4, and number 5 put Demio as number 5. I freaking just love
Whoa.
Demio, and it looks so freaking good in that headset.
Damn.
And
Great
six was Horizon, 7 was Synapse. I think I might move Synapse now into like
Definitely ahead of
7 or 6. I
and
think
this
I
is
would
coming from
probably
somebody
pop
who loves
Demio down.
Demio.
I think I would probably pop Demio down. There's just so much to Demio now. Like Demio is like I can't rate Demio like when it launched. I need to rate Demio what it is today. And if
Right.
you buy that game for the first time today, what you get for the even for the increased value that it is, their increased price it is, it's still one of the best games you'll find. It's like
But the
walking
only
about mini
problem
golf.
is that like you have to have the squad. Like if you
Right.
don't have that
I mean,
squad,
skirmishes can be fun, man. Skirmishes can be a lot of
Fun,
fun, and
but
there's a
top
lot of people that
6?
play online.
I want Baldur's Gate 3 in VR. That's what I want. I've never played it, but I would play it in VR. Real Dungeons and Dragons, right?
I'm
we-
planning on playing Baldur's Gate when it comes to
what
PS5.
we got a game that was shown, Dungeons of Eternity, I think, is a game that's kind of going to be like a co-op dungeon crawler game coming out in VR, and I thought that looked really cool. So I'm looking forward to checking some more of that out. But yeah, that's the thing. Everyone likes all different stuff, you know. Hello,
I'd like to point out, just this little exercise we just did. Trying to pick 5 is damn near impossible. It's tough to pick 10. And I would say that there's probably 12 to 15 must-own titles on PSVR 2 right now, and we're 6 months in.
yes,
But
we just
It
made
gets
the case
thin, though,
that there
after
are
15.
games.
It does,
there's
but it
nothing
gets
to
super
play.
thin after 15. It does get thin. Like to me, like the hardest
oh,
part, like
you
the-
got
the-
me.
the-
You got me think. What did I put in my list now then for 25?
like the top 15 are tough, right? Because there's 15 banger games, but to me, I had a hard time finding games after 15 that I thought really, really deserved to be on the list. Like my 25 is Survive.
Survive is
24
good though.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's still janky. It's still a janky mess.
It's
Even
janky,
it's better
but
than
it's
better
really
than the
fun.
PC, but it is fun. But again, I'm putting that on my. I mean, Cosmo Dread, I got on there. Cities VR, No Man's Sky, which is still a mess. Is Synth Riders, Zombie. A lot of these are ports, man. That have to be in there. But Swordsman, I got in there. Star Wars, Pavlov. It just
the
gets
Light
thin.
Brigade.
Yeah, Light
Light
Brigade's in there.
It's
Just to me,
good.
like after 15, I think it starts to like drastically drop. I mean, look at the thing of Gran Turismo, Resident Evil, Walking Dead, Red Matter, Demio, Synapse, Moss Book 2, After the Fall, Zenith, Hubris, Switchback. But then think of the drop off. And these are great games. I'm not saying they're not great. I'm just saying there is a drop off. Light Brigade, Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, Swordsman, Song in the Smoke, Pistol Whip,
Yeah.
Zombieland, Synth Riders,
Yeah.
No Man's Sky, Cities. It just it goes from here to like here.
See, I did a list. So out of like 100 games, I narrowed it down to 32, and then I did a tier list, right? and this is pre-Synapse. I've got must buys as Red Matter 2, Beat Saber, RE Village, Tetris, Star Wars, Cosmodread, Saints and Sinners, Demio, Pavlov, Horizon, and GT7. And then it's very good. I've got Onigaro, The Light Brigade, Thumper, Moss Book 1 and 2, Zombieland, No Man's Sky, Cities VR, Creed, the original Saints and Sinners below the first one, After the Fall, Mirage, and then okay at the time, this was before the patch as well, was I'm just going to chuck it out there, Switchback, and the list goes on. But I kind of made that list in a way that I was trying to make something that was more generalized than my own personal list. Like, these are games that I think some people would enjoy a variety of different things. But my top 10 is super strict. I did do a top 10 as well. They're
I'll
tough.
point out that since then, we've had Synapse, we've had VR Skater, we've had the Room VR that's come, and now we've got Green Hell coming, we've got Firewall Ultra coming, we've got Crossfire Sierra Squad coming. That's all this month.
Thomas McNostril. Is the whole podcast going to be PSVR today? Do you know what?
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. I am sorry about that. And I know what you're saying, dude. Like, we've nearly done, well, we did a first like 15,
Yeah,
20
but
minutes.
I'm not sorry about it, because what else is there to talk about? Quest 3 is coming. What the fuck are we going to talk about until
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Besides,
Can't talk about anymore.
How many times do we talk about everything else but PlayStation? So, like, it's just
Let's talk
PlayStation's
about
time
all
to
the AAA Quest 2 games that have come out in the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's true, man.
I
Like,
can't wait to demo PowerWash Simulator when I go to Gamescom. It's like my number one. I just can't wait to go.
Are
there.
you going to actually try
Yes.
it?
No,
'Cause-
I told Jimmy Bowers is like, you gonna come do it? I'm like, hell yeah, Jimmy, I
Dude.
love you. I'll come and demo anything you want.
There-
Dude, I played Beat
maybe-
Saber this weekend.
Dude, I've heard multiple people that I respect, GT being one of them, that
Thank you.
actually really enjoy it. And so, like, maybe there's more to it than you think. You
It's-
know?
it's-
If I go there and I enjoy, I promise I will tell you guys the truth. If I go there and I'm like, wow, this is freaking fun, I love it, I will tell you the truth. I'll come back and say it.
Are you going to come back and do more real life power washing?
No,
No.
that I know I hate.
I mean, I haven't played the game, but I imagine it to maybe not be like the best game you've ever played, but there's no way that it's not satisfying. It's just going to be satisfying, like blasting that thing and watching it go from gritty to beautiful and shining. There's just something about that. And I would not be surprised if it is an enjoyable experience.
If you could do it in a Mario world, you'd fucking love it. Like, you know what I
Sure.
mean? That's the thing, is like the worlds, I guess, from what GT says is what makes it, right, GT?
Mario Sunshine was kind of based
Yeah.
on.
What are we
They
talking
never went
about?
back to
Yeah.
that, though.
What was it about Power Wash?
And Splatoon is
Yeah.
like the opposite, where you're like covering everything with color. And that is also really, really satisfying. So yeah, there's just something about that. I bet you it is enjoyable.
Yeah, so to be clear, I've only actually played one level of it in VR, but I've played the game flat, and I like the game flat. So yeah, like, playing Power Wash it was pretty cool. The only thing I'm worried about is that there's a big difference between sitting at a computer with a mouse, maybe listening to your own lo-fi music, doing what you're doing, against, again, VR is an event. It's not like something you can just do while you're having a sandwich or talking to someone on the phone. It's everything. It's all you're going to be doing is power washing. And that could be good and also bad against it, because maybe people will be like, you know what, I can't do this for... And it's on a Quest as well. It's got a 2-hour lifespan. Like, this game needs hours and hours, you know? So, yeah. At least people won't think they didn't get their money's worth when they buy it, I'm assuming.
That's true.
And
People pointing out in the chat that VR is coming soon.
Forgot
I
about that.
Expect You to Die 3 is coming this week. Games are dropping.
Yeah, I expect to die. I'm very excited to check that out.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see the intro.
those games are good for a playthrough. You know, you play through them once, you're like,
Yeah.
that was cool. And then you move on.
That's the problem, isn't it? Like, I think I Expect to Die, the first one, I found it great to play again like 2 years later. You know, it had to be a long time because I was just like, oh God, I cannot remember what I'm doing. It had to be quite a while. I've got a pretty good memory for games as well. So, yeah. VR. Yeah, I literally made a video the other day because I did a community post where I played some mods and they were like, these games are rubbish because they're not first person. I was like, stop saying this. VR games don't need to be first person all the time. That's not that's not great gaming, and that's not a good message to put out. And I understand it because maybe, well, yeah, like maybe these guys haven't played the best platformer of them all, which is Astrobot. You know,
Right.
Astrobot is the best VR platform you can play.
I've had one of the best experiences in VR that I've ever had over the last week and a half, playing Uncharted 4 in VR with the Luke Ross mod. I'm having such a great time with that game. It's so amazing. The gameplay is so diverse and translates very well to VR, even with it being third person. So yeah, that's just completely false. Anyone who says that third person doesn't work in VR.
Yeah, it just got me.
They just don't like third-person games. I guarantee it. Some people just don't like third-person games, and I get it. Like, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I do get it though. Some games wouldn't look right, would they? Like, for example, Batman Arkham, because he takes up something like how much of the screen was it? They did it once, didn't they? It was like 65% of the game screen is Batman's back. Like, how would that work in VR? You'd be like, get the fuck out of the way, man. I can't see what's going on. So I do get it, but. Yeah, that's why I said I made that video just to literally, and I showed some of the comments. I didn't even realize some of these comments I were getting. Like, people were like, Moss was a completely pointless game because it was third person. I'm like, what? Like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe everyone's entitled to an opinion, but I just had to air mine out, you know?
Those are some of my favorite games, you know, like I love being immersed in VR and like having it be this visceral experience. Like if my character is standing, I'm standing. So for most of my VR experiences, it like takes a considerable amount of energy to participate in. And when I have a game like Astrobot or Moss, where I can just sit down and just play a damn game, like control a character and just push buttons, I really, really enjoy those experiences a lot. I'm a traditional gamer to this day, you know, so it's nice when I can just sit down, thumbsticks and buttons, you know, relax, enjoy the experience and not have to be like squatting or dodging bullets or like moving my arms all over the place, you know? So there's absolutely a place for those kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
See,
Pixel Ripped. Shout out Pixel Ripped. That's a good one that does both. You're first person, but you're also playing things in third person, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't include all the examples I had because obviously I wanted to keep the video not too long. But yeah, Pixar it's a very good one actually. I still think the first one's the best one. But
what? Oh man, I don't know about that. I like 95.
I love the first one.
Yeah, 95 is pretty awesome. They're all so good.
They're all good.
Yeah, the latest one's the one that I don't really get on with, but I think that's because I just like I know these games and I remember my dad having a Spectrum, but they don't really mean anything to me. You know, they don't, unfortunately. But
well, I think that's just it. I think with Pixel Ripped, it's going to be like the systems that you remember. That's what you're going to love.
Yeah.
You know, for me, Pixel Ripped was so special because the newest one, because I started on Atari, and you know, a lot of those games mean so much to me because they were the very beginning of my gaming life, and they really like blew me away. But then I had so much fun in like Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis, and like it goes on and on and on. So I feel like every one of these games is special to me and for a different reason, and whoever started with what will probably love that version of Pixel Ripped because they're so good. They're just so.
This track made a good point, and this is why in the beginning of the video I bigged up first person. I completely understand that VR should be first person. It makes complete sense to be first person. You are being in the head of the character. He says, I want to be Batman. I don't want to control Batman. Yes, absolutely. But there are exceptions. There are exceptions that work very well.
But you can have multiple types of games. Like, I mean, I want games where I can be first person, but I want games where I can be third person. Like,
everyone.
Why can't I just go? Why does it have to be like I can only be first person, or I can't? Like, if we play flat games, do we not play different types of flat games, or do we all play one? We have to play a third person.
Besides the fact,
third person doesn't make sense flat.
Besides the fact, you're in a game, you're not really Batman. I just want to throw that out there. But hey, I've never played a third person game as I'm running around and not felt like I was not the character. Like I whether I'm looking at it through his eyes or I'm looking at that person, if I run up to a cliff that I'm not supposed to fall off and I look and I almost fall, I still get a gut wrenching feeling in my gut, even if it's just a character. I'm that character. It's me. I'm controlling it. I'm in its head and I'm making it run around sadistically, and I'm going to kill it and run it off the edge. So I don't know.
Nice.
No, that's a really good point, Roots. Like You know, it's like, and I mean, I think a lot of us in VR still have like a good amount of that, like I don't know, like natural imagination, I guess, if you will. You know, like we didn't like lose the ability to like really be able to immerse ourselves in experiences. And you know, maybe not everybody's like that. Like maybe like it needs to be literal for some people to be able to make that connection, and maybe they only do so when they're in a first person VR experience, which
True.
I can understand. You know, like I'm like you, Roots. Like I can just be a character on a screen and feel like that's me. You know, like I am controlling it.
Well,
for all intents and purposes.
look
like
at
me.
every Resident Evil game before 7. That
Right.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? I don't remember people saying like, "Oh yeah, I don't feel like
Well,
I."
it's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison though, because when you're playing a flat game and you're talking about first person or third person, you're still just playing through a screen. So there is no option of actually being in the character's skin and looking through their eyes. Even if it's first person on the screen, there's still a screen in between you and the world. So with VR, I think that because there is that possibility of one-to-one simulation, people hold it to
Yeah.
a different standard. And I understand that, but I do think it's flawed thinking that everything has to be one way. Like, sure, I want to be Batman too, but that doesn't mean I won't have fun controlling Batman and being in Gotham City, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I put these in my video as well. I still remember how amazing it felt to play Doom on my friend's PC, and like I know what you're saying. This is before VR and 3D. I actually felt like I was in that though. I felt like I was in that game with that gun, and I'm not. Obviously, I'm on a keyboard with a mouse, but I don't know. Maybe it was imagination. Maybe it was that like hyper concentration. That's all that matters. I don't know. But yeah, I think VR definitely opens a doorway of what you can expect from video games. It changes everything. For me, it did. It changed my perspective of games completely.
I always felt like I was trying to be as immersed as possible. Um, but I never, whether it was third person or first person, I never didn't have that feeling unless the game was just bad. You know, obviously VR gives you more of an immersion feeling, and it's easier to play the role of the character when you're in there, you know, when you feel like you are embodied in them. But man, when it comes to games, sometimes it's about the mechanics and just how fun it is to play.
Mhm.
And I just can't imagine being like, I only play first person shooters, or I only play racing games, or I only play, I don't know. It's like saying I only like action movies, or I only like horror movies. Like you're just selling yourself short. There's so many different kinds of music out there. There's so many different kinds of video games. I don't know. It's all
What do you
about immersion for me, no
what
matter
do you
what.
feel about people? Because I hear it a lot from a lot of people in this genre, but they say I only play VR games. I will not touch a flat game. And the
You
best
know,
games that exist are flat. They're the ones
I
that have the
only
money spent
I
in
only
them.
play VR games, but there's a reason for that, and it's only because I don't have time. If I had all the time I wanted to play games, I would play flat games too. I'd play everything. I would go back and play my retro consoles. I still have all these things. The my problem here is that like I only have so much time, and these games are so good to me and so much fun that that's just what I want to play right now. You know what I mean? Like if I had more time, I'd absolutely play them because games are fun. You know, like they just are. But you know, I also work in VR, right? So I had those
Right.
games that I do have to play, and it just takes time. And when I have time to game, I just prefer to be in VR. I just do. So, but I do love all games. I really do.
I just prefer deep, really good games,
Yeah.
and we're getting more and more in VR, especially with these mods and stuff. Like Wes said, that Uncharted 4, fuck man, like that, like
Yeah.
the story and just it has everything, and that's where I get as far as the flat games that I love is because clearly they've spent more time and money, and you know VR is for most developers aren't quite at that level yet, but we're getting there, and that's where Sony we'll bring this back around to Sony and VR. That's where Sony's hybrid games, I believe, is going to be. Once they've added, like Wes said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you start having a library of all these hybrid games that were built. They weren't built from the ground up in VR, but just they're better than most of these built from the ground up because the depth and the story and everything that's in there. I would say that Uncharted 4 game is better than almost everything I've played this year. VR wise. And I'm not I mean, these are fucking banger games, right? It just
I'll
it's
never
got
forget my
everything.
Skyrim experience playing Skyrim in VR on the PlayStation. There are a lot of people who say that Skyrim is unplayable in VR, and I played it with the fucking moves, and I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. It was incredible, wasn't it? Going into that game.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I never played Skyrim before. So I went into my first dungeon and a Draugr breaks off the wall right next to me and I shit my pants. And then the first time I fought a dragon, I was freaking out.
Dude, the opening of that game is still insane. That
It's
music is insane, bro.
I love that game, dude. It's so sick.
It's so good. I'll tell you what is a flat game. If you're looking for something to play, Shovel Knight. Have you guys all played Shovel Knight?
Oh, I
I
saw you
fucking
said you've
love
been playing
Shovel Knight.
that. What is it? I thought you said
I
you were
love
playing. What is
Shovel
it?
Knight, bro.
It's a platformer. It's very old school in its way, I guess it does definitely progressively get harder. But it's such a great game.
So it's
great
a
music.
it's a modern game. It's a flat screen modern game that is designed in the style and mechanics of an NES game. And it kind of takes like a handful of the best NES mechanics, like Mega Man's weapons and like Scrooge's like pogo cane from DuckTales. Like that's like a big mechanic in that game. And it's like if people were still making NES games, what would they look like? That's Shovel Knight. It is badass. And the soundtrack fucking bangs, dude. It is so good. The music is so good. The characters are great. Play Shovel Knight. Don't sleep on that game. It's awesome.
If you're looking for something to mess around with, like I know some of you guys have got Steam Decks. If you're looking for something that's a bit of a platform where like you can just play it for an hour just to chill, Shovel Knight is the game at the moment. I would recommend.
I've been playing Remnant 2 on my Steam Deck.
How's it going? You getting your build? That game is fucking hard, man.
It's not easy playing with one person. Playing single player is not easy.
No, especially once you get to the bosses. They're like Dark Soul level bosses. And that game is just amazing. And I can't wait to burn my computer. Like Wes said, that new Unreal Engine mod is going to catch people's computers on fire, especially with something like that. So I don't even know if I'll be able to run it in VR. I hope.
GT, are you like still in your first playthrough of Shovel Knight right now?
Yeah. I got the achievement for like halfway or something, like a trophy. So I reckon I'm about 75-80% through it.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
Because if you bought the treasure trove, when you beat that game, you also get Spectre of Torment, and there's another one too that I'm forgetting the name of, but you play as two of the enemy knights in the DLC games
my son
through
told
different
me,
versions of the levels, and they completely change the movement mechanics and like what you're able to do with the characters, and those are also awesome. Like the whole Shovel Knight treasure trove is completely badass. So I just was wondering if you had played any of the other characters yet. But
Not yet.
$39.99.
Sick.
What is?
And for the Shovel Knight treasure trove,
Is it $39.99?
If you want the soundtrack, it's $50.
What? Fuck off. Really? What on Steam?
Hey, Alex just said the soundtrack's banging. Dude.
It is amazing.
Well, yeah,
but
just play the game and listen to it.
It's old school retro though. No way is it that much.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's on Steam. You can, I mean, that's the treasure
$40.
trove. You can get the other one for what, $15?
The treasure trove is worth it for sure.
Is it?
It's it's badass, man. I played the fuck out of that.
Man, we're also spoiled by how cheap VR games are.
I know, right?
Mhm.
$40.
I'm not. I paid $70 for Remnant 2.
So Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is $30 on CD keys if you guys use CD keys.
There you go.
Is this better than Dead Knights though? Not Dead Knight, Dead Cells. I love Dead Cells.
Totally different.
Yeah,
completely
totally
different.
This is all about platforming. A lot of it is platforming,
and Dead Cells is kind of like SNES era, where Shovel Knight is very much NES era.
Oh, okay. So it's like a little bit earlier genre.
I'd say it looks a little bit better than an NES, but it's like NES with nicer graphics in some way. But definitely, it's NES. It's definitely
closer to NES than SNES in my opinion.
Yeah. I'd go with that.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic game, and like with everything going on, that's still, if I'm gonna chill, I grab my Vita and I go and sit and play Shovel Knight. It's awesome. It really is awesome.
I'm so glad you like that game. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Mr. Lord Beavis. A lot of people are asking about PT. People are playing PT again at the moment. The reason I think they might be playing PT because they're probably hoping it might trend, because I believe it was like 8 or 9 years ago when it was actually announced at I think it was Gamescom as a game that you could download right then and play at home, and I did that. And I played it, and I invited my cousin around, and she threw my controller around the room. She was all scared, and then I wish I never had deleted it, because now you just can't download that game anymore, because it never turned into a game. But it was announced as a new game back then, so maybe that's why.
Unreal PT is out there, and this runs on your PC, and you can play it flat or you can play it in VR. If you play it in VR, there's a bug that keeps you from being able to finish it, but you can play most of it. So I've been wondering to myself, since this is made in Unreal Engine 4, if we could take the flat version of Unreal PT and use the Prey Dog mod so that we could finish it. That would be pretty cool.
I don't see why not.
There is no way I could get through that VR. That game flat scared me so much that it took me, man, it took like a bunch of people had to be there for me to like be able to pull off finishing it. And it's not even that long, but I could not handle that in VR. I just couldn't. It is too scary.
I'm trying to think. I've played this last year, April last year. I played it. How the hell did I play PT in VR?
Well, there's different ways to do it. A lot of people played it in Dreams, which it wasn't the same in Dreams.
Oh, this is VRChat.
VRChat, yeah. There are Half-Life Alyx mods that are based on PT, but as far as I know, the Unreal PT is the most close to the original.
Yeah, so I think I've downloaded Unreal PT. I've played it, and I think I found that the VRChat one was closer to the original game in terms of things that happened. But looking at this now, yeah, dude, this looks absolutely sick.
Yeah, I haven't done the VRChat one. Is that so? That one's good, you say?
Yeah. I like all my I've done a video on it, and I don't usually make a video on it if it's rubbish. And I remember it being bloody scary.
QIVR says I finished PT in VR without bugs the other day. So I assume you mean the Unreal PT. Yeah, some people were able to do that. I wasn't. I tried twice and couldn't get to the ending of it.
Maybe they fixed it.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did, and maybe I will jump in again if I get time, because so much is going on, and I wish I'd never wasted time on.
October's coming up. That's like my month. You know, like once October hits, I'm like, all right, it's Halloween. Am I going to go to a haunted house, or am I going to man up?
We got Firewall this month as well.
Oh, dude, there's so much coming.
I'm actually going to buy it because I want those.
Oh yeah, vacation's over. Vacation's over, guys. Like Green Hill's coming tomorrow, and then it's just nonstop. I mean, probably through Christmas. Honestly, it's probably how it's going to go.
I hope so, dude. I really hope so.
We've got Contractors Battle Royale coming. I am so excited for that. Like, I don't think that's being talked about enough. I mean, I love Battle Royale games. I mean, Standout was one of my favorite games. I mean, even though Raptor Labs never finishes a game, but it was one of my favorite games. I love Battle Royale games. I love Contractors. To get Battle Royale, if we get anything like PUBG, that Contractors becomes anything like PUBG, I think that's going to be amazing. I want that so bad. Bulletstorm. I want Bulletstorm super bad. Foglands. I want Foglands. I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
Journey to Foundation.
Yes, Journey to Foundation is going to be amazing. I mean, Ghostbusters is coming. I'm not looking forward to that as much as maybe some other people, but it's a big IP. I mean, there's so much coming. Then the shooters, Firewall, Crossfire Sierra Squad is probably one of my most anticipated titles. I played it at GDC and it freaking blew me away. The production quality of that game now is arcadey. So if you don't like arcadey style games, you're not going to like it, but it's probably one of the higher production style of games you're going to play. It feels like a AAA game when you're playing it.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. I can't wait to play that.
A lot of stuff coming.
A lot of stuff coming.
Wait, man. You know, I need more time to play all these games. I still have a backlog a mile long. I wish I was one of these people that was like, man, there's just no games. They must not have jobs. They must not have, like, I don't know how you get through all these games. For real, I just don't know.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing Firewall for sure. I played so much of the first one. I pre-ordered that game, and this is like for the pre-order bonuses, because I'm gonna buy the game so I can get the pre-order bonuses because I want that stuff.
Yeah.
When I played Firewall the first one, I had the pre-order kit, or like it's like a pre-order aesthetics, like your camo and stuff, and I only used that the entire time I played the game because I wanted to flex on everybody that I was smart enough to pre-order that game. But that it almost like slightly diminished my experience, because then as I'm getting cosmetic upgrades, I'm just ignoring them. Like I never used any of the cosmetic upgrades that I unlocked the whole time. So the pre-order bonuses for this game, I know you get a gun. That's a bonus, but I don't remember seeing anything about any like aesthetics, like camos or anything like that. Do either one of you, do any of you guys know exactly what the pre-order bonuses are?
I can look it up quickly. I know the price is pretty staggeringly different. Or it was, at least I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't remember how much the price is going to be, but I'm super excited for that.
If you love a game, though, it doesn't matter, does it? Sometimes, like if you're so hyped
No.
about a game. So,
yeah, no, I'm going to buy it.
It's £50 or £35. So in dollars, that would be, I guess, $40, and then maybe $60 in difference. And what you get in the Digital Deluxe is early unlock of 4 contractors, 4 contractor outfits, 4 weapon camos, and the Operation Pass.
Yeah, those outfits and camos. That's what I need.
I just hope
then,
yeah.
When you see me in your lobby and you're like, wait, why does he look like that? And you're like, oh, because he pre-ordered it and I can never have that because I can't pre-order it now. That's me. I'm that guy.
Okay.
Son of a.
Damn. And yeah, Phasmo, Crossfire, lots of good stuff happening.
Madison VR, Hell Sweeper, says Nihilist Ryan. Good call.
Have you guys...
Hell Sweeper is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, Hell Sweeper is already, like...
It's sick.
As I said, that game was brilliant, then it wasn't so great at Gamescom, and then it was ultra brilliant. So, yeah, I can't wait to see where that goes. Have any of you played Firmament?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's okay. It's a bit different than previous Cyan puzzle games in the way that the puzzles work. Some people are going to like that, and other people not so much. Like I think the hardcores, the hardcore Cyan fans are not going to care for it as much as the prior titles. It's not as VRAF as you had probably hoped it would be, because this is the first time that they've known that they're supporting VR with the game from the very start of the development, and it still kind of feels like a flat game that's brought into VR. But I mean, it's good. It's good. It's a Cyan puzzle game. It's got a great story. It's got some really great environments. The scale is huge. The puzzles span levels.
It looked beautiful as well.
It's
like
boring.
Yeah.
It's boring as shit.
I was just waiting for this.
Your hands go through everything. It's like, come on.
They fixed that. They fixed that.
Go away, Cyan. I mean, come on. You're working on Firmament for years, and then you come out with a game that doesn't even feel like a VR game, and it's boring. I hate it. I don't know.
Mash has spoken.
Boring.
Amelia Fowl
Snooze
says
fest.
she can't wait for Hellsweeper. I think they did a clip today of some content creators all doing like their favorite stuff and that. And my clip was like, people are gonna enjoy making they're gonna play this game all different ways. You know, they're gonna make so many different bits of content as well if you're a content creator. Because this game is not going to be played the same by anyone. Because there's so
I'm
much
excited
variety.
to see Demo Okoro get his hands on Hellsweeper.
Yeah.
Make a video.
That dude's
Dude,
sick.
the stuff you can do in Hellsweeper is so badass, man. I bet you he will make that game look fire.
Yeah, that was the game that someone Shapeshifter Undead Citadel's close to for PSVR 2. Like, I hope so, dude, because I played it on PC, but I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. And I couldn't. And the only way I could figure out why I was underwhelmed is because it just seemed a little too late. Like, a lot of games have progressed to the point where what was cool back in 2019 when I played it wasn't as cool now. And it was a weird moment for me in gaming. And that's why I kind of like went, no, I'm going to wait for it to be like the final, not early access version of the game, you know?
It does get better later on. It is kind of samey. The gameplay, you know, kind of gets kind of samey, but they do ramp up the difficulty enough in the later portions of the game that it makes it fun to play and challenging. It takes a while though. You got to get through a few levels before it really grabs you.
Phil Yarn dropping in the Synapse or Switchback. What you going for?
Synapse for sure.
Yeah,
all the way.
Synapse. Yeah. I'd say Synapse as
I
well.
do love Switchback though. I mean, Switchback
Yeah,
is
yeah,
freaking
yeah.
great. I mean, it's like choosing between two of your kids, even though you do definitely like one better. You're like, oh no, I love you guys the same, and then you're like, oh, I really love you better.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Such a good
someone mentioned
analogy.
Ghost of Tabor as well for PSVR 2. I don't know if that's even in development yet, to be honest with you, on that platform, but
Does anybody here know about that game, or
it's a great
Only-
game as it is now.
only half
but-
of us?
Wow.
Can
Yeah,
any
they
of
need
us
to
talk
finish.
about
They need to. They need to
game?
finish the PC version before they talk about bringing it to PSVR 2.
They're already
Although,
making. They're already making another game as well.
you know, that's in development. So like, it's not a knock. It's just that, you know what I mean. It's going to be a while before that game's finished.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ghost of Tabor will be finished for a long, long time. It's going to be just like Escape from Tarkov, which has been out for 7 years. It's still a beta. It's
Correct.
it's a game that they'll
Exactly.
constantly be adding to and working on. And yeah, they do have 2 more games coming, but they're not using anybody from the team on those other 2 games. So it's they're still using the same amount of team that was on Ghost of Tabor, that are still building that game, and they're actually bringing more people in.
They're not doing a Joy Away.
No, thank God.
Yeah.
You know,
It did
that's
cross
the
my
thing.
mind when I saw that. I was a bit like,
Mhm.
what's that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people get nervous, you know, when you see like, hey, we're working on 2 more games, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think they're doing it the right way, which is you keep the core team together, which, you know, they know that Ghost of Tabor is their bread and butter and they're not going to abandon it. They want to stay with it. So they're going to have that core team stay there, and they'll just look to bring in more talented people to work on the other games,
And what did they make? 3 million on App Lab?
which is
Wow.
unheard of. Just unheard of. It's
Well,
like-
yeah, I mean, it's obvious because it makes such a big impact though on YouTube and stuff. That game, you know, like even today, you haven't got to pay anyone to make a video on that game. They're constantly making videos on it, regardless.
They have made an
not play that
impact.
game. It is so freaking good. I can't
Yes, they have.
not play that game. That game is one of the reasons I have such a big backlog, because since that game, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go in and play this game and this game and this game, and then I see Tabor and I click on it. It's like,
How many hours, Skiva? I want to know.
400 and something.
Oh Jesus! I thought you were talking about Beat Saber for a second there. And then
What?
you said Tabor, and I was like, okay, I got it. Never mind.
No matter how much jank is in that game, like I can't. It's just a habit. I can't not play that game. I truly love it. It's like everything I've ever wanted in a game, and it's just phenomenal. I can't.
I
get
really
enough.
enjoy it. I played it the other week, and just I don't know the physicality of it. It's quite annoying sometimes, a bit like Bone Lab or Boneworks, where your arms get stuck a bit and your
Oh,
guns
for
hit
sure.
stuff. But actually, you also like that because at the same time, I managed to use a door as a shield and shoot through the door. There's so many games that you just and I knew I was pretty sure I'd be safe, you know, and take these guys down. And then there was that classic moment when you come across someone who has never played the game, and I know, like on TikTok, everyone will be killing him straight
You're
away.
too nice.
I
You're too
am
in
nice.
there.
I am.
You let everybody go.
I know.
You gotta shoot him in the face.
I know. I need to-
You're doing them a disservice, because they're gonna go back in there next time and they're gonna think they're gonna get nice GT, and they're not. They're gonna get MASH, and MASH is gonna shoot them dead in the face. They're gonna be like, "What? That British guy was so nice."
I've had it honestly. One of my first ever shorts was this northern guy. He's going, hello, and I went, all right, and I had my gun ready on the stairs, and he went, hello mate, don't shoot me please. I haven't even got a gun. I've only just got a game, and I was just like, oh,
How many times have
man.
we heard that? How many times? Like I haven't played this game nearly as much as these guys have. I've heard that 100 fucking times. I'm new. I just got the game. Please don't shoot me.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
had it again, literally last week with this guy, and I shot another guy for him to have his stuff, and that guy might be more innocent than he was. But
Just tell him, okay, I won't shoot you, and then when he comes around the corner, shoot him in the face, and then like mash you and you. It's a good. I mean, it's a good.
I think I
moment
saw
for- It's
Betty
a
do
good
that.
video moment.
Oh, Betty, yeah,
and
Betty does
Ma-
it all the time. Betty
I've seen
made
Betty
me
do that,
Betty
yeah.
Betty made me point blank kill a little kid one day. She's like, you better shoot him, because she's sneaking up behind him and she's like, I'm gonna shoot him in the head. And she's like, you better shoot him. I'm like, what, Betty? This is a little kid, let him go. She's like,
He's
no,
like,
I'm gonna kill him.
Wow.
I'm gonna kill him, Mash.
Betty
And,
helps them and gains their trust and then shoots them in the back.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
she's
that is
ruthless,
the
man.
worst.
She makes me do things I don't want to do.
Man, one time I came across this kid and his like stomach was growling. He had no guns. I gave him my food that like I brought in to raid for me. Like he consumed these things, and then Betty's like, no, pop, shoots him in the head. I'm like, but you just ate all my stuff.
No, PD, it's not me. It's
Aw.
Betty. No, don't say Mash the kid killer. She made me do it.
Oh
She
my
was like, if you
God.
don't do it, I'm gonna do it.
Have you ever had a backfire though? Like been nice to somebody and then had them kill you?
Yes.
Because it only
Yep.
takes one time and
Yep.
then that's it.
Oh, that
Now I'm
game,
not, fuck
dude.
that.
Yeah.
It's one bullet almost, 2 bullets. That's it. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's easy.
I will be back in there when the progression system gets added. That to me
That's
is like
already
the
there.
missing
That's
piece of
kind-
the puzzle.
That's kind of where
Already
I
there.
feel.
Oh, is it already there?
Yep. Yeah, you
I
you
feel-
level up now. Mhm.
I feel like, well, okay, well, maybe that'll be good. But I feel like my thing is like I want Tarkov more advanced than where it's at. You know what I mean? And this is like it's so far, like it's the mini Tarkov. They just started, you know? And so like I have a hard time wanting to go in and invest time, even though it's amazing. I want it to be that much more amazing when I really dig into this game, right? Because I love Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov. It's one of my favorite realistic sim shooters. So
If Tabor was any better, you guys would never see me again. I already don't play. Like I have a hard time playing anything else, and when I do, you know what I'm thinking? I'm playing these games. I'm like, can I play Tabor now? Like if this game was like the level you're talking about, Roots, that'd be it, dude. That'd be it. I'd be like Neo, but stuck in the Matrix forever. You just wouldn't be able to get me out.
It's literally not good, and I hope Jasmine's not in chat. But literally, me and Steve are like, "Can we take meetings inside of Ghost of Tabor? Like me and you go into a meeting, and we just like we'll go into Ghost of Tabor, and we'll just talk business while we're in there."
Yep.
Yeah, I could see you guys bringing clients in there and telling them to shut up while they're trying to talk.
wait, shh, quiet.
Give me comms.
Yeah, right. All these fucking cheaters are all on Discord anyway. Not like it matters.
Yeah.
What,
Well, isn't that the
gotta
way-
communicate?
Word.
Who's not going to go in Discord though, right? I mean, and maybe you are a purist and you're like, I'm not
A
gonna
man
go
of
do that.
integrity. Is who.
Everybody else is going to do it, so you're at a disadvantage, right? So
I do it begrudgingly. Like I wish people wouldn't, but since they are, you kind of have to.
correct.
You do.
You know.
It would be a completely different game. Can you imagine if you had to use in-game comms?
That would be great.
It would be.
be great.
It would be really, really cool. I'm not denying that at all. But like it would literally just be very, very different.
Wouldn't you like though in that game
not
that there
that.
was a system where you had to work with someone? Like that's one of my like. Obviously, I can go in with friends and we will work together. But I actually like meeting people that I don't know and working with them and getting to know them. Like I really enjoy that. I really enjoyed that in Survive, the zombie game. You know, I met
Or
this
Star
guy-
Trek. That
just-
one guy that helped us that day, right? Although he was the expert.
It's just cool. It's just cool. And now Goes as the Boy is getting to that point where people don't want to work together if they don't know them. If they don't physically know them or pre-know them, you got to kill them. And I want that narrative to change a bit. I think the game would be much more fun if you met people and worked together.
Well,
They do
Tarkov
have in
does
their
that,
Discord.
right?
Yeah, they do have like even Ghost of Tabor. Tarkov definitely has it. They do have in their Discord, like Tarkov has what they call Sherpas, which are like guides for you. So you go into their Discord, just take from Tarkov Discord, and there are people that will just bring you in and show you the ropes. They're just people that volunteer their time. They love the game. They love showing new people how to play. And you need it in Escape from Tarkov because they don't hold your hand with anything. Same thing with Tabor. They have people in their Discord, and they have their Discord's like 60,000 people, 50,000
Wow.
people. And like they have channels where there are just guides in there that help you get into the game and that will play with you. And so they don't like go in there and just kill you and take your stuff.
Yeah.
We need an AI version of Proper D that accompanies this.
Yes.
Proper D partner. I love it.
That's it, man. Wes needs some proper D. What was I going to say?
You know who else needs some proper D?
My mom!
Yeah, she's
Proper,
weird.
improper, doesn't matter. She'll
I've seen
take
Yeah,
it.
she'll take it however she can get it.
Improper D. What? Oh my god. I saw some comments earlier about Green Hell now getting co-op. I have not heard a single thing about that. Is that a fact, or is it just say a wish
It's
thing?
coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
It's been in the flat version, I think, for a little while now.
Okay, cool. I'd say because that'd be awesome. Like that game, that suddenly I'd be like, yeah, I'm really, because I'm interested in checking it out on PSVR 2 because of that. Like, is it the Quest version or the PC version? That's one reason I'm interested in. Just generally the control schemes. Because I've been like an early tester almost of this game and made videos for it through the time, and I've seen it go through so many changes. I just like staying up to date with it, and see what's going on.
It's gonna be like the Quest version, I think, but with PC level graphics, which is not a bad thing
Not at all.
because
Yeah.
the Quest version's more of a VR game, and the PC version was more like a port of the flat one.
Nice. Cool. And Snowto said it's 4-player. Really? 4-player co-op?
Wow. I didn't know that.
Confirmed.
That'd be so cool. You can like
Wow.
pull leeches off your friends and stuff.
Wow, that's
Leech
awesome.
check. Everybody drop your drawers. We're gonna look.
I
Wait a
am
minute.
not
Why does it
pulling
have to be
leeches
on?
off a
Why does it
skiver.
have to be on your like?
Yeah.
Why do you gotta
Well,
drop
that's
your
the only
drawers?
that's the only place
I reckon-
fucking care about.
I reckon you'll
dude.
leave it on there, Roots. I reckon you'll put them on
Well,
there.
yeah, who's not putting them on there? Just get the blood flowing, right? You gotta circulate.
Oh, he's getting. Yeah, I'm not gonna take it there. I'm not gonna take it there. I could do so easy. But there we
You
go.
know your wife's out there saying no, don't do it.
I'm saying no. I'm saying no to myself, which is a massive red flag. So there we go. That's it. I think that's a good place to wrap up the show. There won't be one next week either, because as we said, we're going to be at Gamescom. It's going to be a very busy week. And then basically, as soon as I hit the ground running again, it's going to be a busy week because Fire will be out. Crossfire will be out. Phasmophobia might drop anytime this month. We just don't know. Lots going on. But yeah, Wes is right when he talked about the Quest. I don't know what's happening on the Quest really this month. Like nothing particular I can think of that is important.
Everything's waiting. Everything's
It
waiting
is.
till Quest 3.
It does seem.
guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna hold as much as they can.
Oh,
I
Who wants to
expect you to
wants to
die.
release
That's
right
what's
there?
happening.
Yeah, who wants to release that right now? Like if they have their chance, anybody's like, yeah, I want to release right around the time that they're gonna announce the Quest 3 or it's gonna launch.
that's what I was going to say. Did you guys see that Hellsplit Arena had the mods added, alpha mod?
I saw your thumbnail and Benjo's, but I haven't watched the videos yet. Is it
Oh
cool?
my god, it's incredible. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't, for an alpha, I was like, this is really impressive. Really impressive. Yeah. So I didn't know if you
Cool.
guys have tried it.
Oh, that was a great game to begin with. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. The only difference is being really that the enemies are still the same enemies, but they sound like Resident Evil 4 enemies. And yeah, you get like the bolt action rifle, you can add a scope to it, you get the pistol with the laser sight. So yeah, if you want to like experience Resident Evil 4 in VR, if you haven't already got a Quest, then this is a very good way of doing it. I was so impressed. I was like, no way, this is that good. Like, but it is. It really is. So
Everyone take a minute to click like on the live stream.
oh, thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's beneficial.
It's very
Please also
beneficial.
Definitely.
subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the button.
Yes.
And listen.
Gotta pronounce it correctly.
If you're out there and you're like, oh, dude, I totally would subscribe, but the thing is I'm not logged into a YouTube account, so I can't subscribe to anything. Bro, come on. You've been watching the show long enough. Sign into YouTube. All right. Make an account if you have to and start liking and subscribing. All right. It's time.
Bless
Yeah,
up.
I agree.
It's
It is
free.
time. You've got enough free stuff, All we ask is for a couple clicks. How
That's
hard
it.
is that?
Yeah,
Just a
that's
couple
all.
clicks.
Yeah,
Yep.
likes go a long way.
Yep. And then start commenting and be a part of the conversation. We definitely are noticing all of everybody's contributions in chat. While we can't get to them all during the conversation, we love seeing the continued conversation in the chat all the time. So sign in, start talking, like and subscribe, be a contributing member of the VR community.
Yeah.
Don't just sit back and do nothing like Don.
Right.
Yeah, where the hell
Don.
is Don?
Where the
Where
hell
are
was
you,
Don
Don?
tonight?
I
He's
am-
disappointed me so
He's
much
let me
tonight.
down so much.
We were looking
He's just-
forward to keeping this going.
He's basking in the glory with his membership, man. He's got that membership tag.
I'll
He's
fucking
chilling.
revoke that membership. if he
Somebody
doesn't
ping.
show his
Somebody.
face.
No, let me see if I can add him. Let me see if I can. Anybody add him in chat and see if he's even just lurking here
Kill-
somewhere?
I can't. 'Cause
The-
I'm not.
go
So,
at
I
Don,
can't do it
right?
either. Somebody add Don in chat and see.
Yeah,
if
is
he's
No,
anyone
there's
joined
no.
in?
He's not there. He's not.
Son of
there.
a bitch,
Don,
Don.
we
What's he
miss
not
you,
doing?
bro.
All right, he's
Yeah.
off the CruCast. He was the official CruCast, like eighth
He was
member
the
of
mascot.
CruCast. He's gone.
He was the mascot. Oh god, maybe he didn't want to be the mascot. He wants to run this show, GT.
He was trying to lurk, and we just fucking ripped him out of the
There's
shadows.
someone knocking on my door. It's Don.
It's Don. Oh my god.
Don is here, but not Don. But all we need is Don. Just a little
He
bit.
may
Yeah.
have been in
Still
Phoenix.
getting
I heard a
things
rumor
done.
he was in Phoenix,
Do you
and
know-
you actually helped him with the game, Alex, and you don't even know it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
He had a different name tag on it. It was backwards. His name was Nod. And you were like,
Hey, I don't think that's true because I would have felt his energy.
Oh,
Don and I
that's
have
true.
this thing.
You got
know,
you got a thing.
spiritual.
we have exactly.
Get tingling in places. Ray Holder become a member. Oh, he hasn't met. He's been a member for 6 months. Sorry, man. Thank you. He
Damn.
just decided to do a
Nice.
celebration of it. Don, but never
Apex-
forgotten.
yeah, Apex and Don, but not forgotten. That's good.
Don is gone. Where the hell is he?
Wow.
There's
Bob.
there's 117 people here. Can you all go and find him?
Yeah, please.
Bluebell.
Everybody go and ping Don.
Bring him back.
I
Bluebell
thought for
says,
sure.
"You have all of us. You don't need Don."
That's true.
Aw.
What
No,
did
now
somebody
you
say last week? He's Don, but not forgotten.
just said that right now.
Oh, I missed it.
Ah,
Don't
God.
need Don. I think Bluebell's a little bit jealous.
Yeah,
Of Don.
that's what was happening. Yeah, she wants to be the center of attention.
Did she do something to Don? Like Bluebell, did you take Don out? That's what I,
I didn't
wanna
even think of that.
Maybe Bluebell
my
is
Where
Don.
were you at approximately 6:15 on?
know. That's right.
Bluebell.
If anyone's done anything to Don, you're finished.
Uh-oh.
Done.
I'm taking him out.
Don.
I'll be like creeping up behind him. That's for Don.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Can we please end this?
Yes.
Alex, you can go if you don't want to be here.
Well,
Yeah,
I
dude.
do want to be here,
Oh.
but I want it to end so I can not be.
How are you
here.
getting yourself out of this one? How are you getting yourself out of this?
And here we go. Thank you ever so much for everyone for watching. Thank you to Alex Escape from Between Realities. Remember to go and subscribe to them. Thank you to Wes and Roots from Virtual Strange. Remember to go and subscribe to them. And also to Mash from Q2CVR Gamer. Remember to go and subscribe to him. And sadly, it's Bradley, who doesn't seem to want to turn up anymore. Remember to subscribe to him.
And Gamertag VR.
Yes.
Head on over there and go subscribe to him as well.
We got to get him to
Subscribe.
100,000.
Yes, and CES
Course.
fund. Start sending CES fund.
Some scribbies.
Subscribers.
Hey,
Subscribe.
hey, Q2C VR Gamer YouTube just hit 5,000.
I know, I saw that.
subscribes.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
congrats, bro.
Subscribes.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
incredible, honestly. Like, I don't know if you've ever looked up the percentages of channels that make it to that number. There's just not. Imagine, like, every single person here is a YouTube account, and then every single, like, some people decide to make content. Like, that number to get over 1,000, there's a percentage. I can't remember what it is, and then you've got that length of time. Do you know what I'm saying? It's insane, dude. And there's so many ups and downs in it. You know, to mentally stay on this is fucking hard. Like, you can put in hours of work, and for some reason, for no reason of any fault of your own, no one watches for some reason. And then
Hours or
It's terrible.
years?
yeah,
exactly.
years. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
Ugh.
It's really hard mentally. So to be holding on and growing and doing well, which all you guys are doing, is incredible. So
Sadly,
Brad says
Bradley's
cruel.
Oh, cruel. Why are we cruel, Brad?
oh,
We just miss you. We
your chair's
miss
still
you.
here,
we
mate.
want you here, bro. Why aren't you here?
Don't tell
with
him.
us?
Don't tell him we nearly gave his seat to Don though. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe Don's in Miami with Brad.
Oh, maybe.
Have we ever seen Don and Brad in the same room together?
Maybe Don is Brad.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
imagine if Don had Brad's hair.
So-
And when he
Holy-
says,
you know,
saying.
"Hi, I'm Brad," he says, "Hi,
Did he-
I'm Don." Exactly the same
Oh.
time.
He says hi.
and here's the
Don.
thing, Brad is so just like greedy for these channel memberships that one's not enough. So he had to make an alter ego and get into the
To
chat
get
so
the-
he could win a second membership as Don.
Oh,
Disgusting.
He wants them. He wants them all.
Disgusting. It's like the Cookie Monster.
It's honestly, you're right. Disgusting is the word.
Brad says now he was on a plane. So
He was
make
on
your
a
mind up,
plane.
dude. Are you now driving the plane? Because you said you drove. Oh, what's going on, bro? Can you drive a plane?
I thought about it.
We still love you, Brad.
Yeah, we do. We just
miss
miss
you.
you.
Simple PL Simplex brings up VR 365. What the hell happened to Ranthony?
I think he
Exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
He worked
wanted
for
to
burnt,
be-
right?
worked for years and did not see the traction that he wanted to see. So he's like, fuck this.
And I think more of it was he's so passionate about VR. He wants it to be further than it is. And I think he walked away from it for a while.
We
And
all
he'll
do.
come
You
back
can't do a
when it's
show
little bit more
every day,
advanced.
but he just burnt himself too. Like how
That
hard?
too.
You know how hard this is doing this once a week or doing what we do once a week. Can you imagine doing it every day
He
by
could-
yourself?
I said this. to
Yeah,
him.
it's hard.
Wes
What
is
do you
like
got, 5, Wes?
exhausted,
You're
like
fine.
hey.
You're not doing it. You're not 365, bro.
No, but
Come on,
I
get
do
good,
I do
brother.
4
Let's go.
days a week. 4 days a week, 2 to 3 hours at a time. Like it's a
crazy.
lot, bro.
I
That
can
is a
honestly
lot.
say I think about VR nearly. It's got to be 365 days of the year. It has to be.
For sure.
It has to
Absolutely,
be.
without a doubt.
It's constantly on my mind. If it's something
Yeah.
like that isn't doing well or is doing well, I think the worst about YouTube, right? And this is just going a bit deep into this. For what I know, Alex, if you want to go, I'm so sorry.
No, dude.
I was gonna say-
I'm riding this thing into the sunset.
one of the hardest things about making content on YouTube is if you, and this is where it's really hard and you have to take a step back sometimes. If a video does really well, you forget about it. Like you wake up in the morning, you go, oh cool, it's like 1, 2, 3 in the top 10, it's doing well, and you won't think about it again. If a video doesn't do well, you will put so much energy into trying to figure out, or you should be at least, why it's not working, right? So it's a double-edged sword. You need to learn from your mistakes, why things aren't working, what you should be doing, what's going on out there, because the algorithm changes. There's certain things that YouTube wants you to do and you might not be doing, but you put so much energy. So you've already recorded the content, and to be fair, even recording VR content isn't easy. If you just do it from the headset, it's not too bad. If you're doing lights and you're doing yourself, there's issues. You got mic issues. You might not have sorted out the focus on your camera, and then you've done like a whole hour recording. It gets hot, and then you've got to edit the thing, and then you've got to try and make a clickable thumbnail, and then you've got to try and make a title that at least is something that people might want to see. You know, just saying a certain thing about a game doesn't always work. You know, you've got to sometimes entice people, you know, make them think, oh, this could be an interesting video to watch. Then you've got to do tags, and then then people don't watch it, and then you're thinking, what the hell did I do wrong? And it's awful. And then you have to do it again 40 hours later, or even 24 hours later. Like I've never known anything as brutal as YouTube, and rewarding.
Tough.
I think
And it's
I would stop playing VR. And that's why I kind of stopped. And everybody's different on what they want to do, what they don't want to do. But like, if I felt like it was a job, like, why am I doing it? You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be fun and to get away, or at least that's what it was for me in the beginning. And now, and don't get me wrong, like, I spray bugs for a living. Like, we have to make money, dude. Like, who doesn't want to fucking work in video games and stuff? It's just like, separating the two, I think for me would be just too difficult to. I just would end up hating it, you know, and I don't want to hate it.
It's hard.
So,
But the hardest thing too is, like GT said, I mean, sometimes you make these videos and you think, this is the best video I've ever made. This is going to do so well, and you put so much time into it. And then it just doesn't do anything. Well, you're like, what did I do wrong? And then you don't, if you don't know, like, you think you just did the great thing, and then like nobody watched it or nobody commented on it, or you got bad comments. You're like, what the hell did I do wrong? And then you do a video that you're like, I didn't really put that much effort into. And then you're like, wow, that thing just took off. What happened? What did I do? And you just kind of go round and round. Like I learn stuff new every day. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And you're all basically self-trained. You know, no one's actually sat you down. You haven't gone to a course. and learned
Right.
it. You know what I mean? You've picked it up yourself. You put your time in. I didn't know anything about any of this. Like I started off in PSVR just pressing a button, like go live. That was it.
Yep.
That is,
Same.
Yeah.
yeah. And you know, and I still think that is such an amazing thing. Like, yeah, I love the PSVR. Bluebell dropping the $10 donation. Thank you ever so much. This is overtime pay for the CruCast. Overtime. I remember doing overtime. I used to do so much overtime. But yeah, so all of you are doing fantastically well. And thank you to everyone who watches this show as well. Like, it's incredible. As always, I always want to thank you all for being here. And I'm now going to end the show. I'm going to end it. It's going to go. It's going to go.
Yeah. This has been a great time.
Alex isn't ready.
Alyx?
Well, now I'm having fun. Now I want to stay.
Because we're talking
Brad's
about...
off the plane. He can get on now. We go for another 2 hours. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I was always down to go for another 2 hours.
My
mom! Even on a
and Brad. My mom and Brad.
And
both of them.
Brad goes for 2 hours.
Yeah. Don is like a breeding horse. He goes forever.
What's happening to Don? Right, Mrs. GT's now saying goodbye, and that is
she's like, I want to go to bed.
Yeah, that's it. Right, thank you ever so much, guys. Look after yourselves. Take care, and we will